Hello and welcome to another edition of Nightly Scroll. I'm Hayley Caronia. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this Friday evening. This is no better way to start the weekend, in my opinion. If you want to watch this show live Monday through Friday, you got to do it on Rumble. We are Rumble exclusive. Rumble.com/Hayley is where you can go to find the Bongino Report channel. And of course, where you can watch this show. Watch it live at 6 p.m. Eastern time or whenever you want on video on demand. If you can't watch, and you want to listen, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your shows, just search for Nightly Scroll with Hayley. You can follow me at Hayley Caronia on most social media platforms. I'm not on Threads, never will be on Threads, and I'm not on Facebook, not really anymore. But I've got a big show on deck for you tonight, and I just want to do a quick reminder that on Tuesday, that's my birthday, July 15th, I want representation from all 50 states in the chat. So you got to tell a friend to tell a friend. If you have a friend in Hawaii, I'm nervous about Hawaii at noon. So you got to tell a friend to watch this show on Tuesday night. I want all 50 states in the chat. I think that would be fun. And it is Friday night. So what better way to break down some of the biggest news stories of the week than to do it with the host of Mark Kaye, The Mark Kaye Show. And he is also 2026 congressional candidate for Florida's 5th District. Mark Kaye joins this episode of Nightly Scroll. Mark, thank you so much for being here.
Oh, hey, thanks for having me on a Friday night. This is fantastic.
Yes, this is fun. And we follow each other on TikTok. This is the first, yes. I saw you on TikTok. I've seen you on Newsmax, but this is the first time that we're meeting. So I'm very excited to have you on the show. You do great commentary and we've got a lot to get to. So very, very excited about that. And you're in Florida. I'm in Florida now. So we're Florida people. We have a lot of Florida topics to talk about. And right. I know you're running for Congress in Florida. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. But just in general, what do you think some of the issues are that are going to be top of mind for voters come 2026?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to be a battle in the House of Representatives for sure, because that's the only chance the Democrats have to get any power. And I think that the whatever your personal issue is, the goal has to be to protect the House, keep the House at all costs, make sure that we have the right candidates. And one of the reasons I'm running, of course, and I know we're going to talk about it later, is that I think we really need to audit our Republicans and make sure that we have the right Republicans that are running, so that if we do maintain control of the House, we're going to have conservatives in there who are going to battle for conservative stuff. Not the kind of people that, that kowtow and reach across the aisle and give in at the slightest bit of, a little bit of, when they get pushed, they just fall down like a house of cards.
Right.
Or if we, God forbid, lose the House, which I hope doesn't happen, we need really strong combative conservatives to fight back against the Democrats, because they're going to impeach Donald Trump on day one. They've already tried. And that is the big goal for everybody. If you're voting in 2026, you have to make sure the Republicans keep the House of Representatives, or everything grinds to a halt.
Yeah, and I think people are still a little disillusioned with the GOP right now. I feel like we've got the Senate, we've got the House, we can barely get anything done. Of course, we got the one big beautiful bill passed across, but what are these other things that you think voters are going to care about in 2026? Is it still going to be gas prices? Is it still going to be, grocery prices, or is it something else that's going to get people to the polls?
I don't think they're going to be worried about any of those things. I mean, I went to fill my tank today for the first time. It was under $60. I have a big car, but that's been a long time that I've filled my tank for under $60. It is the new golden age for sure. And that's bad, actually, because people are going to get apathetic, and they're going to scroll on into 2026 going, everything's great. But if we don't maintain the House of Representatives, like I said, it's not going to be great anymore. So yeah, I don't think there's going to be a concern about taxes because of the one big beautiful bill. I don't think there's going to be a concern about prices. I don't think that we're going to be, worried about the border anymore, because it's basically shut. No, ain't nobody coming across the border. Mosquitoes can't even fly across the border with Tom Homan there. So what really is going to be the battle that's going to inspire people to go to the polls and fight like they did last time around? And I worry that we don't have one, other than the fact that the Democrats are lunatics. So, I mean, that's basically what we've got to keep pushing. The Democrats are lunatics. Keep them out of politics.
Yeah, I'm nervous. I always get nervous for the midterm elections, though, because I feel like in the presidential elections, we get all of this momentum. And then, people used to hype up, it's going to be a red wave in the midterm. It's going to be a red wave. And we've seen in previous years, in 2022, it was the pink splash. So, I mean, is it enough to just say Democrats are crazy? I mean, what does the GOP have to do? What does the House, what does the Senate, what does the administration have to do in this next year to kind of solidify this momentum?
Well, I mean, it starts with all of us. I mean, everybody that went to a Donald Trump rally, everybody that stood on the side of the road with a flag, everybody that changed their logo to his bloody face after he jumped up in Butler, Pennsylvania, all those people have to remain really, really active in politics. And I was at a counter protest the other day. It was two people. My hobby is to go and shoot protests and counter protests with my iPhone and then make YouTube videos out of it. So I go to this protest and there's a counter protest and there were two dudes and they had a sign that said, "Deport these Democrats." Now, the Democrat protest wasn't that big either. Of course, it's Jacksonville, Florida, so there's not a lot of ice running around in Florida. But at the same time, I was talking to the counter protesters and they said, we used to get 40, 50 people out here. Now they're content. We won. We control everything. Right. We're getting stuff done. Donald Trump's, surpassing expectations. Everything he's done in the first 6 months has been amazing. So people don't waste their Saturdays standing on the side of the road yelling at Democrats anymore. And I think that we need to make sure that we light that fire. We won the battle, but there's another battle and we got to win that one too.
Maybe it's because our protesters aren't paid. Maybe if we cough up a little money, we can incentivize them to get out like the left does. The left, it seems like it doesn't matter what they're protesting for. They're out there. And
our protesters have jobs. They can't go.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what it is. The left, they just have nothing to stand for because they stand for everything. It just seems like every protest of theirs, it's just it's like a mix of all of the things that they care about. If it's a take down Tesla protest, there's, anti-fascism, there's abortion, there's anti-ICE. Like, it's just it's defund the police, it's Black Lives Matter, it's whatever. It's just come one, come all. They use all the protests for an opportunity to just do a little arts and crafts project, make their sign and go stomp around. I guess they have nothing better to do. I don't know. It's very bizarre. But I want to talk about Elon Musk and this third party. Now, obviously, third parties have not worked in the past. This is why we don't have D's nuts as the president of the United States right now. The Green Party doesn't do it for us. The Independent Party doesn't do it for us. We just saw RFK Jr. run as an independent. He had to go form a coalition with President Trump. It just boils down to fundraising, I think. And it's the RNC and the DNC and these massive election machines that don't allow for a third party to exist or to really gain the momentum to gain traction and to win. Do we think that Elon Musk has enough traction and enough money to combat the RNC and DNC?
No, there's not enough money in the world to combat the two-party system. The Democrats have. The other thing is there's not even the ability for a faction inside of a party to really succeed because the people inside the Republican Party with all the money and all the power make all the decision as to who's going to come up the ranks. Same with the Democrat Party. A third party is never the way to go. And I always get in trouble when I talk about third parties because I have a lot of libertarian friends and a lot of libertarian listeners, and they always go, there's already a third party. And yes, we get it. The Libertarian Party is the strongest third party, but we're talking about, an additional party outside the two-party system. And what Elon's doing is wrong. If you want to beat Donald Trump, you really have to play by Donald Trump's playbook. And Donald Trump, for like a split second, toyed with the idea of a third party and realized very quickly it was a lost cause. So what did he do? He said, okay, we've got a two-party system. I've got to take over one of the parties. If you want to win an election, you have to be a Republican or you have to be a Democrat.
Right.
So instead of going out and starting your own third party, which is insanely difficult, you just infiltrate the Republican Party, put your own people in place, get your own people elected, get the voters to rally around you, and become the new. And look at Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush no longer considers himself a Republican. You've got George W. Bush, who was the last Republican president before Donald Trump, and he's basically abandoned the party as well. Donald Trump took over the party, made it the MAGA party, and now look at all the success that he's made it. There's more Republicans in Florida than Democrats by a long shot. And when I moved here, it was a purple state. Charlie Crist was governor. So it's really been powerful. You can't use a third party to overcome Donald Trump. You need to get in there, conquer a party, and use all of their assets if you want to win.
And Donald Trump can't run again. So I think this all stems from their bromance falling apart, and Elon Musk just wants to stick it to Trump, but he really wouldn't even be sticking it to Trump. He would just be doing Republicans a disservice because they would be splintering the party. Not that I think there would be that many people who would leave the Republican Party to go for a third Elon Musk American Party, whatever it's called. But do you think Elon Musk would ever run for president as a Republican?
Well, I think he was born in South Africa, so I don't think that he can.
I always say this. I'm like,
yeah.
Do you think he would run? I always say this, and he obviously can't.
Like,
I always forget that.
People always say, like, I was born in Canada, right? So people are like, why don't you run for president? I go, I don't qualify for that one, but I can run for Congress.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I try not to, now that Canada is such a tyrannical communist dictatorship, I try not to let it slip, but it's true. I was born in Canada. I went to NYU for college. There's a lot of skeletons in my closet, but I've been able to rise above all of that.
I won't hold it against you.
Thanks. Elon Musk is an interesting guy. What people don't realize is you don't get to be the richest man in the world without, getting your way pretty much all of the time. And what Elon Musk didn't realize was that when you work for President Donald Trump, you work for President Donald Trump. And you may not like something he decides. You may not like a decision that the committee came up with. You may be against something that's coming out. You may not like the one big beautiful bill or the EV mandates being throttled or the debt ceiling being increased. Doesn't matter. It's not your call. And I think Elon Musk eventually cracked because when you have so many companies, when you're the CEO of Tesla and SpaceX and X, when you basically save free speech on the internet and everybody is praising you, plus you've got more money than God, then you don't like to take no for an answer. And I think we're seeing that. We're seeing that he realizes for the first time in his life, he had a boss. He didn't like it. And now now he's lashing out a little bit. But, he's not going to run. He'll back some congressional candidates. Right. I hope they don't win because, as we said before, the House of Representatives has to be held or else, Donald Trump's last 2 years are going to be mayhem.
Well, I think it's interesting, too, because what Elon Musk wants this third party to represent is, cutting government funding. Mm-hmm. And, the Republicans are doing that. So it's really just taking bits and pieces of the Republican Party that he likes and trying to create a third party when this already exists. It's really stupid. But speaking of Florida, what is Governor Ron DeSantis's political future? What does that look like? Because I think, he can't run for governor, obviously. Is he going to be the next Marco Rubio, kind of this Swiss Army knife in whatever the next Republican president's cabinet? Would he ever be a VP pick? Or do you think his run for president was so bad that it kind of tarnished his presidential vibe?
His run for president was bad, but leaving the presidential race when he did, I think it was probably just the very last second before he destroyed his career forever. And since coming back to Florida, he's done a lot of really good things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he's totally in campaign mode. I don't know if you remember this, a couple of weeks ago, he did this press conference and he came out and he said, by the way, in Florida, if a protester stands in front of your car and beats on the hood and you're in fear for your life, you can run them over and not worry about it. Stand your ground applies to automobiles as well. And that went viral. I mean, I think I posted that. I think I got like 3 million hits on it. Everybody was talking about Ron DeSantis saying, in Florida, you can run over protesters. That's amazing. Forget the free state of Florida. Put that on the state sign. That should be the state motto.
I know.
And I think that started kind of this new resurgence, I think, of his campaign. And then Alligator Alcatraz, forget about it. Alligator Alcatraz that's red meat to the MAGA crowd. Plus he brings in Donald Trump and they're walking around the Everglades and there's hats. And then Donald Trump says, you know what? We have a great relationship. He is rising from the ashes and 2 years is coming up quick, but it's also a very long time. And if he plays his cards right, he could really be one of the front runners for the presidential nomination. And I think that's exactly what he's trying to do. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. He's going to be out of office next year and he'll have plenty of time to plan a campaign.
Yeah, it might be interesting. I feel like if you asked Republicans in 2020 or maybe 2021, who would the presidential candidates be in 2028? I think a lot of people would say Gavin Newsom, Ron DeSantis. It was like this battle of the governors during COVID, right? Yeah, because they were so polar opposite and they were really these rising stars in each party. Now I don't know, because with JD Vance, doing such a great job. He really won American people over during the debate. That was like, wow, this guy is not just a rising star. He is someone we can really count on. Yeah. And he was a really, really wonderful vice presidential pick. And I think a lot of people are seeing him and also Secretary Rubio, who's wearing all the hats in the administration. He's got every job. He's working very hard. The next time we'll see Marco Rubio, he's going to be in a McDonald's window, and he's going to be, shoveling fries and putting fries in the bag. Yep. I could see Ron DeSantis maybe doing something like that, being a top cabinet pick for a JD Vance or a Secretary Rubio, and he might have to just spend a little longer. But I agree with you. He was so bad in the debates, though. He really wasn't good, which is odd because for Ron DeSantis, I mean, especially during COVID, he was such a bull, right? He was just taking on the media, and he was such like a big personality. And I just feel like on the debate stage, he kind of lost that.
He wasn't really good in the gubernatorial debates either, and he did win. I mean, it's no lie. He won because Donald Trump came in and saved his campaign. Otherwise, we would have had that guy who was found in the hotel room with the bag of crack and the male porn star. Yeah, but otherwise, Ron DeSantis, he came in, he put the onesie on his kid, and he won the governorship, and then he did a great job. But you're right, he's not a great debater, and he did not have a great campaign in 2024. We do have a lot of rock stars, and they're all very young. Yes. That's the other thing. Marco Rubio, Ron DeSantis, JD Vance, they're all under, I think, 55, which means we've got 3 people for the next 30 years. I mean, Donald Trump is pushing 80. For the next 30 years, we've got 3 very viable candidates, and the Democrats have nobody. They have Gavin Newsom, Pete Buttigieg.
Well, that was going to be my next question for you. We're stacked on the Republican side, but on the Democrat side, who do they really have? I mean, Gavin Newsom obviously comes to mind because he's not running for re-election. He can't. Right. I don't know. Are they so obsessed with their identity politics stuff that they'll just put up any old minority or woman or whatever? I mean, they've tried to run a woman the last 2 times. Donald Trump has taken them out both times. So would they try that again? Or who do you think is in the running there?
I hope so. I hope they do. I hope they grab AOC right out of the Bronx and throw her. I mean, they've already got her flying around on private planes with Bernie.
I know.
So she's not doing that for the lobster rolls that they serve in first class. She's doing that because she's trying to lay the foundation for something. Is it that she wants to be the senator from New York? Probably, but let's be honest. That's not her end game. And again, she's barely, I think, under 40. So she's got plenty of time too.
Yeah.
AOC would be a fantastic candidate because, as you rightly pointed out, minority women in the Democrat Party don't do very well in elections. And so I say keep running. Hillary Clinton was just a terrible candidate. Kamala Harris is just a hysterical candidate. AOC, I think, would just annoy the pants off of voters, and they would gladly vote for somebody like JD Vance, who mopped the floor with Tim Walz. You want to talk about a great debater. Between Marco Rubio, JD Vance, and Ron DeSantis, JD Vance is the clear winner in any debate. He'll debate anybody on any day, at any place, and any time. But Marco Rubio is an apt leader. He's very well versed, and he's got great foreign policy skill. Apparently, who knew? Yeah. So it's gonna be really. If you could take JD Vance's demeanor and debate skills and mix it with Marco Rubio's foreign policy experience and Ron DeSantis's law and order chutzpah, that would be the perfect candidate. Let's have all 3 of them be president.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Or in the same cabinet, I think it would be awesome. Right. We're very lucky. I'm not an identity politics gal, but I think it would be very funny to be able to stick it to the Democrats and have the Republicans put up the first female presidential candidate who wins. And, I don't want to mess with that trifecta that we were just talking about. I am all for JD Vance, Marco Rubio, whoever, Ron DeSantis, whoever. But who on the Republican side do you think could win as a woman?
Number one would be Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who is a rock star. I mean, what she's doing in Arkansas and she had big shoes to fill with her father. And
Yeah.
he's doing a great job in Israel, but she was fantastic in her role at the White House as press secretary. She's an amazing governor, and governor is the stepping stone to the presidency. I mean, at least for good presidents. And we see that she's kind of laying this foundation as a very strong leader. And I think that she has that, she's not too, I mean, I'm going to get in trouble if I say this the wrong way. She's very relatable. We'll just go with that. Like, you look at her and you're like, oh, that reminds me of so-and-so's mom. Mm-hmm. I could see her, and so-and-so's mom used to beat me with a shoe when I was really bad. So she'd probably actually be a really good president. So I think Sarah Huckabee Sanders is probably the front runner in the Republican Party as of now. But we'll see. We've got a lot of strong women in there. We had a lot of strong women in the Republican Party too. Kristi Noem's doing a great job, and Brooke Rollins as agriculture. I don't remember a time that we've ever seen the agriculture secretary on TV as much as we do now, and that's probably a problem because according to Brooke Rollins, agriculture is very important, and she's working with the Secretary of Defense, and she's working with Marco Rubio, and they're getting this amazing stuff done. You're right. This is the only presidency I've ever seen where the cabinet works together like they're a soccer team. It's really amazing.
Yeah. And Brooke Rollins and all this agriculture funding, they're using that to whip the Democrat states into shape, the ones that are putting men and women's sports and all that. So very cool. They're just, they're kicking DEI to the curb, which I love. But speaking of this funding and funding cuts, this obviously huge story this week with the catastrophic floods in Texas, but also in New Mexico, in Georgia. This is happening all over the country. And Trump is being slammed because of these cuts to FEMA, the National Weather Service, NOAA. And despite experts saying these cuts have nothing to do with these disasters, the National Weather Service was predicting everything just fine. President Trump wants to phase out FEMA, replace FEMA. As a Floridian, can you speak to how FEMA has been not sufficient?
Yeah, every time. Well, we've been blessed with a fantastic 18-year span, really, or a 16-year span. We had Rick Scott, who, man, when there was a hurricane and Rick Scott put on his Navy hat and his blue jeans, you knew stuff was going to get done. And he handled the local resources here in Florida better than anybody. And no matter what hurricane came to Florida, you knew Rick Scott had stuff under control. Here comes Ron DeSantis, same exact thing. Yeah. They've got that same, they're in control, they're making decisions. And the state of Florida knows how to handle hurricanes. The state of Florida has a great early detection system. The state of Florida can evacuate you, and the state of Florida can rebuild faster than pretty much anybody. I mean, FEMA's, they're nice and all that, but they're the federal government. And we saw what happened. They are a partisan organization. They were in North Carolina. They were skipping houses that had Trump flags. And I have to imagine there's a lot of Trump flags in houses in North Carolina.
Right.
So we don't need any of that. In Florida, it doesn't matter who you are. Floridians take care of each other. Same thing in Texas. Greg Abbott can run Texas better than the federal government can. He can run the border better than the federal government could. And if you have but that's the key. You need a strong governor. And if there are states with strong governors, then these emergency management systems should be run at the state level, just like education. It makes no sense why people in Washington are making decisions for these states that are dealing with this every year for decades.
Yeah. And, people are getting a little crazy, blaming Trump, of course, for natural disasters. Then the left is also blaming climate change. I mean, they'll point the finger at anyone except, this is just a natural disaster, which it is. It's a tragedy. But interestingly enough, this cloud seeding company called Rainmaker, the CEO, his name is Augustus Dorico. Mm-hmm. He has been out on the media this week, just getting in front of this, saying, yes, we did a cloud seeding operation in Texas 2 days before the floods, but we had nothing to do with this. And he put out a statement. He said, our biggest cloud seeding missions to date have only produced 10 million gallons of precipitation approximately. And that tropical storm dumped about 4 trillion over the course of 2 days. Certainly this, I don't want to say it came out of nowhere, but it happened very quickly. And the National Weather Service and all these alerts that they were putting out, it didn't get to people fast enough. They were asleep. The Guadalupe River was rising faster than people could evacuate. It was just a tragedy. Yeah. But it does make me question, because I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist myself. Why would you carry out a cloud seeding operation because of droughts in the area when you know that a tropical storm is coming in 2 days? That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, it's, I'm glad that you're a conspiracy theorist, because hey, I'm a little bit myself. I'm all about a good conspiracy theory. And I look toward Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she has just released or just sponsored a bill to ban cloud seeding.
Yes.
We've done it here in Florida.
Yes.
And, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she may play the firebrand, crazy Republican soccer mom on TV, but she knows what she's talking about. And a lot of the things that she said in the past have happened. Ron DeSantis as well. That guy has some foresight. And if he's doing something in Florida, you better, believe it, that there's some studies behind it that are proving it. I don't know why they would cloud seed Texas. You're right. When a tropical storm is on the way, unless of course, they already had it planned and paid for, because remember, all of these organizations, cloud seeders and anything that has to do with environmentalism, it's all a corporation that's funded by the Democrats and the Republicans and the government. So if something is paid for, it's going to go through no matter what. And I think that if they'd canceled it or if they didn't do it, someone wasn't going to get a check. And if somebody doesn't get a check, then somebody doesn't get money in their campaign coffers.
Right.
When you're talking about conspiracy theories, I mean, it's just a money laundering operation. So tropical storm or no tropical storm, the cloud seeding will go on because some Democrat somewhere, it needs mailers for their 2026 campaign. And if they don't get the money from the government, then that's not going to get back to their campaign committee. So,
Great point.
It is interesting. I'm not sure if that's exactly the case, but like I said, I got popcorn in the microwave for any conspiracy theory you may want to bring up.
Yeah, great point about following the money. We always have to follow the money. And I want to talk now about this technology, right? Because this is the cloud seeding technology. There are a lot of advancements that are good. There are a lot of advancements that are bad. And I want to talk about AI, because I know a lot of people love the baby videos on X, but that's not the extent of AI. Now, earlier this week, Secretary Marco Rubio's voice was impersonated by imposters who used AI to mimic his voice, to send messages, voice messages to other cabinet members, other foreign leaders. This sets a very dangerous precedent. And I think the next arms race is an AI race, because there are international implications for sure, but there are also here at home. With elections and misinformation, I think this is going to be even more damaging to the American people's trust. We already don't trust the media. Now we can't even believe our eyes because of videos. And did Marco Rubio really say this? Did President Trump really say this? Or is this fake?
I mean, look, my buddy Sean Farish does a killer Donald Trump. So if you ever need if you ever need somebody to call and declare war on somebody, Sean Farish, he's got you covered. But you're right. There is definitely some kind of necessity in managing AI. We talked about this on my podcast just earlier today, that traditional warfare is basically dead. That's why we're looking at farmland. Chinese people are buying up farmland near military bases. Okay, well, traditional warfare isn't going to stop that kind of attack. There's weather balloons flying around. If you have somebody from a country that hates us, like, Syria or Iran, who we just bombed, and they poison the water supply, you don't have a military answer for that. And AI 100% is potentially a very dangerous weapon. And you pointed out a great reason as to how it can be used. So that's definitely something that we have to pay attention to. I do love the babies though. And I do use AI myself to write, when I'm stuck on a joke or something like that, I'll go to ChatGPT because I've trained it to have a pretty good sense of humor. But I think Donald Trump is also, he's very smart. He went after AI money from the get-go, and he brought in all of the AI tech companies, and he got a lot of money from NVIDIA and Oracle and everybody else. And he's going to make the United States the center of AI in the world, not just because it's economically sound, but then we get to own and keep all of the technology. And as we learned from the space race and the arms race, whoever has the technology has the upper hand in any kind of military conflict. So hopefully Donald Trump and everybody in his cabinet and whoever comes after him realizes that having AI in the United States is not just economically good, but is a national security boon as well.
Yeah. And you brought up China too, and the China threat. I want to talk to you about TikTok. I know you're on TikTok. There are a lot of conservatives on TikTok, but not a lot A lot of conservatives don't like TikTok, and I understand their reasoning for it. I don't like China as much as the next girl, but TikTok is, it might be banned, it might not. It might be banned, it might not. The ban keeps getting tabled, and no one really knows what's happening. But TikTok is reportedly testing out a new app called M2 that could launch for American users as soon as September, because they feel like if they do force a sale, they're going to have to create a new app. And what this looks like, I don't know. But would it have the same algorithm? Would we lose all of our followers? Would this new American app just have Americans on it? I like seeing stuff from other countries. I like that aspect of TikTok, that it's really just this community for everyone. What's your take on this?
Well, that's how I found you, because you were dance party with Beyonce went super viral.
Exactly.
That was amazing. But basically TikTok, I figured out because my wife literally used TikTok to get my son into college. I've used TikTok to, figure out how to wire computer systems and AI functionality for my podcast that I couldn't figure out. It's great for anybody who's not a child. Unfortunately, children are the target demographic. I yell at my daughter all the time to get off TikTok because I know she's watching stuff that's rotting her brain. My wife and I are using it as a search engine.
Right.
So it is a slippery slope there. I have a personal vendetta against TikTok because I'm now on my fourth account, because I keep getting demonetized and deleted and shut down, and I'm going back and forth with them still I don't know if I'm going to get paid or not. I don't know if I'm going to lose millions of followers, but you're right. There are a ton of conservatives on TikTok, and it is a great outlet for political thinkers and for people to find like-minded political allies. I don't know about the new app. I'm excited for them to sell finally, because like I said, hopefully they'll just stop shutting me down and shadow banning me.
Right.
But every time a new app pops up, I use it just cuz I don't want anyone stealing my name. We'll see what happens. I think in the long run, there are a lot of American companies that have been around for a while. Rumble's doing great. I know they're Canadian, but they are doing great, and I think that they have a lot more staying power. So my goal with social media, just like you, is to stay on every platform as long as I possibly can, and use it to get as much of my message out as I possibly can to as many people as I can.
I just worry. I mean, even if it's an American-owned app, will they still censor conservatives? This is my thought process. I am so beyond shadow banned on TikTok. I'm in the 100 view jail, and I can't get out of it. It's insane. But I want to talk about your congressional race, because you are running for the 5th district in Florida. You are looking to oust John Rutherford. Put on your hat. Mark K for Congress.
Yeah.
So you're running. The election is August 18th. That's the 2026 GOP primary there. So why challenge the incumbent, Rutherford?
Well, it's really interesting, sir. I used to have a radio show here, and so he's our representative, and I voted for him a couple times. And do you remember, I'm sure you do, when Matt Gaetz ousted Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House? Okay, great. Yes. There was a big battle to replace Speaker of the House Kevin McCarthy, and everybody wanted Jim Jordan from Ohio. Yes. I wanted Jim Jordan from Ohio. Matt Gaetz wanted Jim Jordan from Ohio. Pretty much all of our listeners here in the 5th District wanted Jim Jordan from Ohio. So we were really shocked when our representative, John Rutherford, kept voting for Steve Scalise. He was one of the 20 holdouts who kept Jim Jordan from becoming the Speaker of the House. And so we called him up and said, hey, why don't you come on the radio show? And he doesn't really do interviews. He likes to hide from the public. He doesn't do any town halls, hasn't done a single one, but he came on the show. And we were talking to him on the phone, and I asked him about the vote. I said, why are you voting for Steve Scalise? Why aren't you voting for Jim Jordan? He said, because Jim Jordan's not a good guy. And I said, well, everybody in your district, and I know he was getting inundated with calls. People were sending me emails saying, I just wrote to John Rutherford. I told him to stop voting for Steve Scalise and vote, we want Jim Jordan. And he goes, Jim Jordan's not a good guy, and Steve Scalise is. And I said, but that's not your job. Your job is to represent the people here in the 5th District.
Right.
And he on the phone, I swear to God, because he and Matt Gaetz don't like each other. He said, if I vote for Jim Jordan and he becomes Speaker of the House, then Matt Gaetz wins. So then I realized
this is just a personal vendetta. And so, let me just say, Steve Scalise is a great guy, but this was a personal vendetta for Rutherford against Matt Gaetz. I mean, grow up.
Right. Well, after that interview aired, Breitbart picked it up. And I started getting all kinds of information from people. And I started to realize that John Rutherford is one of those representatives that made a whole lot of money. We're talking millions. And he had 152 Stock Act violations brought against him by the Ethics Committee. However, he sits on the Ethics Committee. So they were all just kicked out. He also was one of the votes to release Matt Gaetz's ethics report after he'd already left Congress. So it seems like he's in it more for himself than the people of Florida. Well, I've supported a woman who ran a couple years ago named Mara Macy, and she was an America First conservative. She was a constitutional conservative. She was MAGA, and she was younger, and she had a great platform, and she didn't win because she didn't have the name recognition. So when I called her in February, I said, "Are you running again?" She said, "I can't beat John Rutherford." And I said, "Why not?" She said, "I just don't have the name recognition. We need somebody locally who is well known." And I go, "Well, who would that be?" And she goes, "Well, you come to mind," because I've been on the radio here for about 20 years. So we thought about it, and we talked about it, and I talked to my wife and my kids, and they were thrilled. And I looked at it, and I said, "You know what? I do have the name recognition. I know my politics is conservative. I know I'm a constitutional conservative, and maybe it's time for a change." So we launched the campaign, and man, it has been gangbusters so far. It's been great. Every time I go to talk to people, they all come up to me and tell me how much they hate John Rutherford. So I'm really excited. Yeah, it should be a good campaign.
Amazing. So do you think Trump will endorse you?
I don't know. He's endorsed John Rutherford in the past, but that's the past. I'm not sure. I emailed Laura Trump and asked for her endorsement, and of course I haven't heard back from her. I've texted pretty much every I think that comes from the top down, so we're waiting to see what happens. But Donald Trump, he endorses a lot of people. Many of them win. If he endorsed me, I'd be all about it. It's probably a long shot at this point, but the endorsement that counts really is the voters. So I'm just out there knocking on doors. I'm talking to people, and we're having a big event on August 18th, which is 1 year out from the primary. Right. There's a big sports bar at the beach. We're going to go hang out. I'm going to do mini rallies. That's going to be my thing. I'm going to go around and do mini Trump rallies all around town. So yeah, fingers crossed. It should be either way. It's going to be a fun race. And I really think if we got a head start, so we have a pretty good chance.
Very cool. And, President Trump usually waits until the last second, until he knows who's going to win. Then he does his full-throated endorsement. So maybe we just need you to gain a little bit more traction. You do your mini rallies, and then President Trump will swoop in and give you that kick that you need. So tell everyone where they can watch your show, The Mark Kaye Show, and tell everyone where to go find all the information about you.
Oh, I sure will. Well, my new podcast is called Mark Kaye Saves the Republic, and you can find it anywhere. We're all over the place, just Spotify and iTunes and wherever. Just Mark Kaye Saves the Republic. And my campaign website is very easy. It's markkayeforcongress.com, and that is, of course, Kaye. You can get one of these hats. You can get one of these cool hats with the donation. So these things are baller, and they're not made in China, which was very important.
Love it, Mark. Thank you so much for being here.
Hayley, thanks for having me. This was the most fun I've had on a Friday in a very long time.
Good. Have a good weekend. All right. That interview was a lot of fun. Let's keep the fun rolling. Let's get into scrolling time. Ask Mark about alligator Alcatraz, and I totally forgot, totally spaced my mind. But this brings all the conversations that we were having together about AI and alligator Alcatraz together. So this is an AI interpretation of what's going down at alligator Alcatraz. Watch this.
This is day 2 in alligator Alcatraz in Florida, where we can see that this project has completely backfired. Mexicans have completely taken over the swamp.
Vamos rápido. No te dejes ganar. Tacos, tacos de cocodrilo. Botas y carteras de cocodrilo en venta. Llévele todo baratos. Pásele, güero.
Is he selling crocodile boots or alligator boots on the back of an alligator?
Assorted products you could find in the Everglades. An assortment of shipped goods.
Oh my goodness. This is so funny. And the comments, it's just funny that the way that AI interprets this is that these alligators can be domesticated and ridden like horses. I don't think it would go that way.
But that looks scary good, doesn't it? I mean, scary good. like how crazy the AI has made that. Like that's incredibly good looking production. It's
Did you get fooled by it, Andy? Did you think that this was real? This is
No,
real life alligator Alcatraz?
Yeah, the taco stand. I was on it. I was believing it until the taco stand. And then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
somebody got me.
The tacos were looking pretty good. A little too good, maybe. But this is these are the comments here. May this come true. Mexicans are the hardest working people I know. They will thrive anywhere. Selling crocodile goods on top of a crocodile is crazy. Y'all don't take nothing serious. Alligator Alcatraz is not funny, but this is. I like it. I laughed, then cried, then laughed again. My people, we will overcome. Alligator Alcatraz is flooding due to rain at the moment. This was from a week ago. I think they're okay. Okay, this use of AI is awesome. So.
See,
it's good. AI can stay. It's good. All right. This next liberal, she says that she doesn't want to pay rent. Not only that, rent shouldn't exist. Listen.
Rent should not exist. In this day and age, rent should not fucking exist. We have a surplus of housing. We have houses that are empty. We could be housing everyone on the streets. But no, we have to worry about profiting off of it. Shut the fuck up.
You first.
Shut the fuck up. People are homeless, dying on the streets. What is wrong with you? What the fuck is wrong with you? We have a surplus of housing. We're in a complete different age from when you did have to build your own house. Everyone deserves a house, and our government has the ability to give us that, and they won't. You need to be more angry.
How'd you do in New York City with that surplus of housing?
Right.
You have a good time there with the surplus?
No, they were charging us an arm and a leg for a shoebox. Oh my goodness. This is a prime example of when liberals say these things and it sounds good on paper, but it just doesn't work. I mean, it's a very nice thing to want everyone to have a house. I don't want to see homeless people on the streets. I get it. But rent should not exist. Here's what people in the comments are saying. Putting her in her damn place. Buy a house, pay for it, let people live there for free. Be the change you want to see around you. I agree. Go buy a house and let people live for free. And see how homeless people will treat it, by the way. Insane. Not a single logical point was made. No one owes you anything. Stop acting entitled. Let me guess, you voted for Kamala. Buy some of those vacant houses and give them away. I see you have a car. Do you use it while you sleep? If not, you should be leaving the keys in it so those without cars can use it. It's just sitting there empty. You can help so many people. Good point. Good point. Someone said, how many homeless are you housing? Another good point. Nothing is free. Not my problem. They refuse to get a job. And Potato Boy, that's this creator. Is this a boy? Or a girl pretending to be a boy? Boy pretending to be a girl? I never know. You never know these days. Commented with a boot emoji and a tongue emoji. Bootlicker. Really? Because someone told her to get a job and nothing's for free? This is common sense. Speaking of NYC, Andy, and housing there and how free things don't work, New York City has unveiled a public pool in Central Park, and it is free. Yes. It is called the Gottsman Pool, and it may not stay open for long. Several fights have already broken out, and because the pool is free, there are long lines. The long lines create conflict. People start fighting. People are now fighting with the workers. So this was the last week of June, right before July 4th weekend. They finally opened the pool to the public, and fights were breaking out. Had to close it down. I mean, this is why we cannot have nice things. During the altercation between people at the pool, one individual was allegedly struck with a lifeguard chair. I tried looking for videos of the brawl. Couldn't find it. Videos of the fight. I found one video, but it was like the tail end of the fight, so it wasn't worth showing to you guys. But here is a pool goer detailing the chaos. Watch this.
Would y'all believe me if I tell you I went to Central Park Pool, and I was on the line for 2 hours, and then I finally get inside the line, and they beat up the pool worker and shut down the pool, and I had to leave butt ass, and then I had to go into the woods and change my clothes. Would y'all believe me if I say that? Would y'all believe me if I say it was like a brawl inside the thing? Would y'all believe me? Well, believe me, bitch. Central Park Pool is ghetto as They're gonna close down, so don't go.
Don't go. And can I believe all of those things? Yes, I can. You know what else I can believe? That people are pooping in said Central Park pool. This is not confirmed. I haven't seen any news articles about poop in the pool, but this guy says that they are. Watch.
They are pooping in the Central Park pool. They are pooping in the Central Park pool. And from what I understand, these are great big poops. These are not poops from a child. Grown adults are doing huge poops in the pool, which is making it close regularly. When this thing began, I told people it's a bad idea. A free pool in Central Park, this pool will be 10% urine. That's what I told people. But I didn't imagine that these animals would be pooping in the pool on a regular basis. Adults, do you poop and leave? Do you poop and stay? There's poop on your leg. What? This is why we can't have nice things. This is why we can't have nice things.
That's what I said.
This is why we can't have nice things. These people could vote, and they can't even handle not pooping in the pool. You're all just... I'm David
spitting.
Boyce. Upset. Hashtag don't poop in the pool.
Great point that he made. First of all, valid crash out. Second, valid point that he made about these are people who vote and they're pooping in the pool, and it makes sense. These are the people voting in New York City. They're pooping in the pool, and then they're voting for Zohran Mamdani, who eats with his hands. So this all tracks for me. And this is not confirmed, like I said, but also not that far-fetched. I just want to throw up a headline from last summer. New York City has a poor pool poop track record. People won't stop pooping in New York City's public pools. According to this article, this is a recent article, but because of this pool opening, but this is all stats from last summer. 203 separate occasions, nearly every pool in New York City was pooped in. These are public pools, forcing closures and cutting swim hours. There are 52 public pools across the 5 boroughs of Manhattan. 44 had to be shut down because someone was doing poops in the pool. A solid turd is level 1, a looser stool, level 2. How insane. Again, this is New York City. This is what you vote for. This is what you get.
There's no possible way a human being understands that they are doing that, a number 2 in the pool, and then continues to stay. So these people are doing their duty, and then, as a pun intended, and then heading out and leaving this mess for fellow New Yorkers to float around in.
They don't care. They don't care. They're just disgusting human beings. And this is what happens when things are free. Free things don't work. You let people in for free, like I said, long lines, huge poops, doesn't work. It just doesn't work. All right, you guys have some blind reactions for me, right?
Yeah,
we'll end the show on some blind reactions.
Justin found these, and we were going to pay tribute to your
lovely
golf
friend.
Or want to be friend, or hope to be friend one day, or could be friend one day now if he's listening.
More than friends, but yeah.
Yes. So here's one.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Hello. This is day 1 of playing golf every day until I defeat Bryson DeChambeau in a 1v1 battle. I am Kenny DeChambeau. You may ask why I'm not wearing a shirt. It's because it seemed like it was popular on TikTok and you got a lot of followers from it.
He's asserting dominance.
Follow me so I can defeat Bryson DeChambeau. This is the swing that will eventually defeat him. a little bit of a fade, but it's in the fair way.
That's something. I think maybe a little bit more work, and maybe one day he can take on. But I think my future husband's safe.
Well, his range right there was like 15 yards. He's hitting it straight into the trees.
Oh man. Well, I would put a shirt back on and don't come for my man. That's my reaction.
Well, he's coming for him. He's going to beat him 1v1. All right, this next one is a tribute to happenings of the week.
Okay. When Hayley sees a lizard. Just redo the house. Take down the ceiling.
Massive panic construction.
If anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, because this is somewhat of an inside joke, if you missed the show on whatever day it was, Monday, there was a lizard in here. Alive, real life. No, it was a gecko. People came for me and said it was a gecko. So whatever. Gecko was in here, tail shedding and all. It was shedding its skin all over the wall. Gross. It was on my set. It was one of the first things I saw when I walk in. I'm like, what is that? I saw it move. And then it was on the wall behind me for the entire show. We had a camera on it, but I couldn't see it from where I was sitting. So I needed camera one to be on gecko duty. And yeah, I've been very concerned coming in here every day this week. I said, where's the lizard? Do we have eyes on the lizard? Is he still here? Do we know where he is? And we still don't know. I'm not trying to tear down the studio or anything and, rip down the walls, but anyway.
E.T. phoned home.
Yeah, he's gone now.
Okay, we got one more, and this is a would you eat this?
Would you eat this?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Here we go.
Shrek meatloaf. Oh no, I don't think I'd be eating that for
It's a meatloaf. You can shape it. You can be creative with it.
For our listeners, not our viewers, this was a meatloaf in the shape of Shrek, the DreamWorks character Shrek. Great movie, by the way. Shrek 2, good. Shrek 1, great. But yes. Would I eat that? No, I don't think. Anytime you try to make a cookie in the shape of something or meatloaf, for example, in the shape of something, it never cooks down right. It always turns into some mess, some blob, some whatever. It's never sounds great, doesn't work.
Date scenario.
Oh no.
You have a date, guy's getting ready. He says, I'll cook. Don't worry about it. Come on. I'll cook. I got you. And so you go over there, you sit down, things are nice, candles, you have a salad, and then he brings out a Shrek meatloaf. What happens? And go.
I don't know. Would I don't think I would have him cook for me. I think we would cook together, so we wouldn't get to this point where there's a Shrek meatloaf surprise. I think I would maybe step in and make a normal meatloaf, or maybe make something else.
Yeah, I mean, Justin said we'll take a Shrek meatloaf leg to go in a box, maybe a upper shoulder.
You guys do that. You guys, what were his shoulder pads and everything made out of? Bologna or something? Like, what was that?
Hold on, here it comes again.
Gross. Bologna? What are the eyes made out of? Ew. This is so gross.
By the way, if that's Shrek, that's a swing and a miss.
That's what I'm saying.
A swing and a miss.
You cook down the thing and
food color that thing and make it green.
Oh, don't be doing that. That would be way worse. This looks like a Labubu. You know this Labubu trend? Do you know what a Labubu is? You got to pull it up. I swear influencers on the internet are buying Labubus They are these like troll looking monster things. They're like little figurines, and they're buying them to put on their designer bags. It's spelled Labubu. Labubu. And that's what that Shrek looks like. These Labubus are ugly. I think they're weird. I don't know why grown adults are putting them on their, I don't know why they're buying them. I don't know why they're putting them on their bag. Very bizarre trend, but that Shrek, it looks more like a Labubu than it does a Shrek. This
Labubu doesn't have
demonic
the ham shoulders.
monster. No, it doesn't have the baloney vest. All right, well, on that note, I hope everyone has a better dinner planned than Shrek Meatloaf. Thank you for scrolling along with me on this Friday evening. Make sure you follow me at Hayley Caronia on all platforms, on Truth Social, on X, on TikTok, on Instagram. Of course, make sure you are subscribed to the Bongino Report channel right here. It is the only place that you can watch Nightly Scroll. Watch, listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Just search Nightly Scroll with Hayley, and I'll see you right back here on